We've got the one, the only, the second most beautiful beard in the world, second only to mine, one Ray Ellen, the host of the Bearded Men of Real Estate podcast, and our very own Apple Bar genius, and our tech update fella. What's going on, buddy?
Good morning. What's going on with you guys?
Man, I don't know it, buddy. You, just all. It's all you, man. How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm still full from last week.
Yes. Well, us men of size, we know our way around some Thanksgiving food, don't we?
Yeah, this is not my first rodeo.
No. Go ahead.
It's butter smooth.
What? I'm sorry?
Your stream looks butter smooth.
Yes, indeed it is. Would you like to know why?
Yeah.
Because we bought one of those new M1 Max that you were telling us about.
Oh, that's so good. I'm telling you, they're so powerful. I thought you guys would need the Pro, but I don't think so.
No. We what's really irritating is I've got like a $5,000 machine here that is now obsolete, and we've got a $700 machine doing its job.
Yeah. I was just texting Connor on the Skype that you can actually pigtail your old Mac Mini with this new Mac Mini. So if anyone out there has two Mac Minis now because you bought the M1, you could connect them together and run them as one system.
Wait, run that by me one more time? Because we've got an old one sitting in a box. We were just talking about hooking up.
Yeah, you can connect Mac Minis together and run them like a big giant server. It just increases power. They're amazing. There are people, all the Bitcoin farmers and all those folks. There are people that have these Mac Mini farms. And it's just warehouses of Mac Minis that do computing.
So we were just talking about the way that our setup is, and this may bore some people, but it's the tech update, so it's part of it. But we were just talking about how we may hook up the second computer because we stream to ideally we'd like to stream to multiple locations simultaneously, but that takes a lot of juice from the computer. So you're saying we could pigtail the second Mac Mini into this one and pull off both of their power?
Yeah.
You can never have too many minis.
It's a mini setup there. So for the real tech update.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we get to some tech support later, but for the real tech update, I have a story where tech meets politics. I can tell you a lot of people in the tech industry love it when tech meets politics. Not really. The internet should be free, but Van Buren versus the United States is going before the Supreme Court. Do you know about this story?
I don't.
So Van Buren was a police officer who accepted some money and ran someone's plates.
You told us about that. He gave away some iPads.
No. This was that's a separate news story. That was a couple weeks ago. This guy was in 2017. He accepted money from the police, or he accepted money from someone to run some plates. So he had access to the database, and he ran someone's plates, just a private actually it was a FBI sting operation. Anyway, he runs this guy's plates. He gets in trouble, right? So they're using a law called the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. It was implemented in like the 80s after War Games, the movie.
Oh wow!
So basically, it was what the government uses to convict hackers. If you don't have access to a computer system or a database and you gain access to that, they use this to prosecute you. So here's where it kind of comes full circle into the politics. This guy already had authorization to access this database. But there's a second part in there called exceeding your authorization. Mm-hmm. Right? So they're trying to throw the book at him and also add these charges. If they do, that means things like investigative journalism, people who do cybersecurity, right? So people who intentionally hack systems in order to improve the security. Mm-hmm. But the big thing politically is the investigative journalism. If you access a database that you don't have authorization to access, you could be, if this police officer, which, there's bribery and other charges and stuff like that he could be charged with, that he was charged with. And no one's arguing that he did something bad. They're just arguing which law should apply. And so keep your eye out for this one. I know it's a little bit nerdy and maybe a little boring, but the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, if they are able to throw the book at him and to get this included in exceeding authorized access, then that means if you have a whistleblower on the inside of a company who then sends that database to someone or sends some information to someone, they're not using the system that they've been given for the proper reason, right? Mm-hmm. So in other words, let's say it would be akin to like using your work computer to look up sports scores, which is actually the argument that his attorneys are making. If you use your work computer to look up sports scores, you are unauthorized to do that on your work computer. So you're using unauthorized access to look up information.
So we should crucify everybody that does that by their metric.
Well, so that's the extent that the police officers' attorneys are using to say this is probably the wrong law to throw at this guy.
Yeah.
But it's a bigger deal than most people think. It's just something that's out there. We have a new Supreme Court. I'm always interested to see what the Supreme Court says about tech law. Historically, a lot of them haven't said much. I think it was Clarence Thomas actually said something on this one. He never really talks. So he was asking questions about this one. So something interested him on this. So it's a really interesting law. If this happens, if it goes through and they are able to prosecute this guy, then investigative journalism using technology is in trouble, which could go both directions.
Well, I mean, if we're being honest, investigative journalism died years ago. It's called weaponized journalism now. But
well, now you have people that are quote unquote journalists, right? That have their own YouTube channels because an actual news outlet won't put them on because maybe they lean conservative, and so now they're doing their own, like Veritas, right? Doing their own investigative journalism and doing their own hacking into stuff in order to find out the truth, and then trying to get the truth out there. And if this goes through, then they have another law or reason to prosecute those folks instead of just a general hacker rule.
It's funny how we that's a very unknown story right now because and by the way, for those of you listening, that's how people operate. That they want it's called divert, bait and switch, whatever you want to call it. They want to keep you busy with all this stuff over here while they ram all this stuff over here down your throat. And so that's kind of the way. That's the MO, if you will, of that. Cool. Well, I have one question for you before we let you go. When am I going to be a guest on the Bearded Men Real Estate Podcast?
That's what we need to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, it's every Wednesday at noon.
Central time. I'm free every Wednesday at noon Central Time.
You just happen to be.
Just happen to be. I just happen to have my old planner here in front of me, and it looks like I'm wide open. So,
well, we got some big stories coming up too this week. So be sure everybody tunes into that. So if you like real estate news and a little bit of tech stuff, it's a place.
I also know a few things about real estate. So that should work out well. Ray Ellen, as always, the Bearded Men of Real Estate podcast. Be sure to check that out anywhere you get podcasts. They live stream on Facebook as well. He is a national treasure, and we're thankful that we have him. Ray Ellen, let's go to a break. When we come back, we got to dive into some other stuff. Appreciate you, Ray. We'll get on the line with tech support. Just send me your hourly rate for tech support, and we'll get on a call here before too long. Ray Ellen, everybody, thank you for joining us. You're listening to Hometown Heartbeat, Boomer and the Beard. We'll be right back.